Another crowded medical ward in Port-au-Prince, where so many of the injured have been separated from their families by the chaos that followed the deadly quake.
I think that it's a blessing that we can all be here, that we can make a contribution. We're coming from different perspectives, we have different kinds of expertise, but I think that overall we really feel privileged to contribute to this effort.
This is Nightline, January 11th, 2010.
Dr. Janet DiPietro, a developmental psychologist at Johns Hopkins University, says there's no evidence whatsoever that products like Baby Plus actually help a developing fetus.
What fetuses seem to respond to most are loud sounds, the vacuum cleaner, a rock concert, and just because they might get kind of jazzed up to those things doesn't mean it's either good or bad for them.
The last stop on my journey would be a visit with a planetary scientist, one of the world's leading experts on Pluto. He's been mad ever since we opened our new exhibit at the planetarium. And he sure isn't pleased with the IAU.
What I really like is what I call the Star Trek test. When Kirk and Spock show up orbiting an object, just by looking at the picture of it, they know it's a planet. It's not that hard.
So you don't even care about whether a zone is cleared or some of these other parameters?
No, that's all about location. And location's for realtors, not scientists.
As of 2002, more young couples were living together outside of marriage than ever before, according to the latest government statistics. NPR's Patty Naiman reports on what the numbers tell us.
More than half of all women between 15 and 44 have at some point lived with an unmarried partner. A startling change in how we live our lives, according to Johns Hopkins University sociologist Andrew Cherlin, who says it all started back in the 70s.
A couple of generations ago, it was really only the bohemians, the poor, the outcasts who were living together.
In tonight's Education Alert, it now pays to volunteer in one of Baltimore City's schools if you work for Johns Hopkins University. The school is giving its full-time employees some real incentive to sign up.
Students at Barkley Elementary Middle School listened to a pair of guest readers. They were big names in education, the city school's CEO and the president of Johns Hopkins University. And they showed up to kick off a new program called Take Time for Schools.
We want to build on this momentum by harnessing the diverse talents of Johns Hopkins' greatest resource, our people, to make a substantive difference to the schools.
To me, it means that we get more help, and that means we get more learning.
Live from the area's leading news station, this is News 4 at 5.
A team of doctors from Johns Hopkins Children's Center just returned from Haiti, where they treated dozens of children.
These photographs show the overwhelming scene that greeted the young Johns Hopkins Children's Center doctors.
It was terrifying when you first walked up. You saw the tents. You saw this fold-up table outside that was the operating room. You saw hundreds of people, and the first thought that goes to your mind is, wow, what can I do for these people? How can I help?
And finally tonight, the growing U.S.-China dispute over free access to the internet. What do you see from the Chinese side? Does pressure work?
Yes, I thought Mrs. Clinton's speech was excellent, and I think one reason was she called attention to what I think the Chinese know themselves, and that is they're involved in markets all over the world. They need timely information to promote their own economic growth.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie.
When the Nobel Prize in Medicine is awarded in Sweden this coming Thursday, 2 of the 3 Americans sharing the prize will be women.
That's it. When Carol Greider, a researcher at Johns Hopkins University, learned she won the Nobel Prize in Science,
The first thing she did was tell her kids. Only 8 women have been awarded a Nobel in Science since 1901.
I've been getting messages from all over the world of people saying how exciting it is, not just for me, but for the whole field.
Sheila Dixon is the first African-American woman to serve as the mayor of Baltimore, Maryland. And now she's on trial facing multiple corruption charges.
Matthew Crenson, a political science professor at Johns Hopkins University, says that the mayor's entire political career is at stake.
It's true that the kinds of crimes that have been alleged here are fairly trivial by comparison with other political scandals. This is no Teapot Dome, no Watergate, it's not even Rod Blagojevich, but they're important.